Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra and today I'm bringing to you 3 looks, 1 palette with the Natasha Denona palette, the Natasha Denona Gold palette. So I'm not going to go over the details of the palette. All of that information is online and I will link to this at the Sephora website down in the description box for you. But you do get 15 shades. And there are multiple formulas in here, and that's really all you need to know about this palette. We're going to go ahead and jump into the 3 looks. I feel like I got a good variety, something fun, something fierce, and something for every day. So let's go ahead and get into them. Hi guys, welcome to the first look with the Natasha Denona Gold palette. Please observe my super cute rope clipped hairdo here. So to start out with, for my transition, I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is called Sandstone. And I'm going to start it on the outer V, as I always do, and just very much work this into the crease. And then once I have the bulk of the pigment off of my brush, I'll start working it up toward the brow. Next, I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is called Dijon, and it is the mustard yellow in the palette. And this is going to hopefully be my crease shade. So on the outer V, I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is called Veris. And I'm going to use that same pinched fluffy brush that I've been using. And I'm first going to put this on the outer V, like I said, and I'm going to bring that in about halfway. Go back in with Dijon on the same fluffy brush and just add a little bit back in. The bristles are really flying over here. Alright, so I just realized that this shade down here is a greeny gold as well. That is Brass. And I am going to use a flat synthetic brush with this and some spray, but first I'm going to apply my NYX glitter primer, which I've been doing like all the time lately. It might be one of those shades I have to use my finger with, I think. Let's do it. Phalange, here we go. Oh, I haven't used this shade Brass yet, but it is so pretty and so glittery. This dark teal matte here, which is called Python. I haven't dug into that one yet. And this I think I'm going to press right up against the lower lash line. And then because I did the teal on the lower lash line, I'm going to also pick up a little tiny bit on this tiny little brush right here and just stamp that along the upper lash line. So I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to go into Lime Chrome, and I'm going to kind of put that over the teal and see what we can create that away. I'm going to spray it to get the best opacity. Looking good. Okay, I'm going to pop off of here, have a blending session, liner and mascara, and then I will find a lip and come back and show you the finished look. Alrighty, we are back. For lips, I use the Smashbox V Legendary Long Lasting Liquid Lipstick in the shade Boss. This is in my Shop My Stash for summer this year, and it is my perfect red, and I felt it looked nice with this green and gold eye. So I'll be inserting some pictures right here of the look close up with the hair done and jewelry on and the whole thing. And I hope you enjoyed look number one. Hi guys, and welcome to day 2 with the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I really don't have a plan today. I'm just thinking that I really want to make use out of this teal shade right here called Aurora, and the rest we'll just see what happens. Famous last words, right? So I'm first going to go in with the mustard yellow shade called Dijon, and I'm hoping that today it will show up a little bit more mustard because I'm not going to add any other browns or anything to it. I just want to really blow this out in the crease and the transition. So I'm just going to kind of work at that for a while. I think when you're using one shade for both your transition and your crease for the most part, you just kind of have to brace yourself for a lot of blending and just kind of sink into it. Just let it go and take your time and just enjoy the experience of blending until your fingers fall off. I don't know if I really feel like this translates mustard on me. Maybe if I was of a fairer skin tone, it just doesn't really read mustard to me, which is actually kind of very disappointing. I mean, it is there, but it's not the kind of mustard I was hoping for.
Just keep blending, just keep blending, just keep blending, blending, blending.
And then something I rarely do, but I'm going to do it today, I'm going to take that same color on the same sort of pinched fluffy brush, and I'm going to put a good amount of it on the lower lash line. I love that. I could put something on the lid and leave it right there. But I still want to use this shade, which again is Aurora. So I'm going to, maybe I'll just use my finger. Nah, I'm going to go in with a flat shader brush, pick that up. It looks pretty glittery. I think maybe I should spray it. And I think that is definitely the name of the game with this palette is glitter glue, glitter glue, glitter glue, and or a wet brush. Ooh, that's pretty. Problem with this though is now my brush is wet and I hate putting a wet brush back into a shadow. This is definitely a shadow that needs to be built up from the looks of it. Probably would be better suited to be used with a glitter glue. I'm gonna try the flangey. It is such a pretty shade though. I'm trying to see. It's kind of like a teal with a green reflect maybe. I mean, that wouldn't be surprising in this palette whatsoever. We're going to go for it with the center shade, which is Oro. Anybody else getting like major Egyptian vibes? I don't know why gold and teal make me think Egyptian. This is gorgeous. I would love to leave it as is, but I think I want a little bit of more of an interesting fade between the two shades. So I'm going to go into the shade Brass. Now I'm going to take my phalange and just kind of tap that where the two shades meet. think that's more interesting personally. I'm going to go into this shade right here called Python and just use a little bit on the very outer V, and then just barely, like a whisper, in the crease. Just tiny, teeny, tiny bit of depth in that crease there. And then using that same shade, Python, I'm going to take my flat definer brush here and just press this right up against the lower lash line, only going about halfway, about as far in as the actual other turquoise goes in on the upper lash line. I think I'm going to go into that same Oro shade that we have on the inner part of the lid, just kind of going to mimic, I guess, what we have going on the upper, on the lid. I don't know why I keep saying the upper lash line. And then my one kind of gripe with this palette is that there really isn't a highlight shade. This is a very glittery topper type of situation. I'm going to try and put it on the inner corner and spray it, see if it works at all that way. Grind your brush in there. That's pretty. Okay. So this is what we're looking like. I think we're looking nice. I'm gonna go ahead and pop off of here and do liner and mascara, and I will be right back. All right. This is what the final look looked like. Wow, I've been filming too long. I just finished off the look with an army green eyeliner and the Milani Highly Rated Mascara, which I think is on its last legs because I had to like rake it through the lashes today. Anyhow, I really like how this look turned out. I feel like I got to use some of the fun colors in the palette today, but this is definitely the brighter look of the two that I've filmed so far, and I love it. And I will see you coming up for look. Hey guys, welcome to look 3. Today we're going neutral, but hopefully still exciting. I just kind of wanted to show the versatility of the Natasha Denona Gold palette. So I'm going to go ahead and first go into the shade Teak right here and really blow it out. Like on the outer V, but also into the crease and up into the transition area. This is the last matte that I haven't used in a look in this palette, so was going to use it today. And I'm in a weird mood because I've been filming for the whole day. My kiddos, it just so happens, like my son is gone and my daughter was invited to go on a camping trip with my bestie and her kiddos. And I was like, well, I'm going to take advantage of this and play with my makeup, get some pre-filming done. And so if my face looks beat, it's because I done beat it 3 times today already. But it's just been fun. It's been really fun to just play with my makeup today. Next, we're going to go into this shade right here, which is called Alchemist. I'm going to go ahead and put that over the outer 2/3 of the lid. And I think this palette is messy. Wow. And I think I'm going to just use my finger and we'll see how it goes. Kind of looks a little bronzy. I'm trying to use up the last few shades that I haven't used in a look for this video. I mean, I've used this palette quite a bit. Excuse me, since I got it, but not all of them, the looks were for videos, you know. I did a lot of just using it in my daily life, so I really like this shade. Isn't that pretty? Next, for the inner third, I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is called Aurum, I believe is how it is pronounced. And I think I'm actually going to put down a little glitter glue for this one. That complicates it a little bit, of course, but you don't have to do this step. And now, like I said, into the shade Aurum right here, this small flat shadow brush. It's kind of a gentle fade into the first shade, but I really like it. Who knew? All this time I thought I didn't like gold on my eyes, and now I want to wear gold on my eyes all the time, especially with it being summer. I think that has something to do with it. It just feels fun and festive for summer.
Gorgeous.
Okay. The last shade that we haven't used in the palette is this one right here called Kava. So I'm going to go ahead and place that on the inner corner. I have used this in another look that I did not record, so I do know that it needs a little help by way of a spray, a wet brush. First, when I got this, I'm like, oh, whatever will I use for my inner corner shade? And I've since found out, which I'll cover in my review, that there's a couple of shades in here that work for an inner corner highlighting shade. Ooh. My fans are blowing the Fix Plus around. Lower lash line. I think I'm just going to take this teak shade and just run it underneath on the lower lash line. Just kind of smudge it out. Keep it simple, like I said. Alrighty then, that was quick and easy, wasn't it? Boom, every shade in the palette is used. I'm gonna pop off of here and finish off the look with a mascara and a lip, and I'll be right back. Ta-da! Here is the completed look. Excuse the wonky lashes. I did finish off the look with the Hourglass Caution Mascara. This is a deluxe sample size, but I just cracked it open, so, you know, I have no opinions just yet. And then I did also use a copper eyeliner here from Ulta Beauty, and then for lips I used MAC World Lip Liner and this little Kevin Aquan Glass Glow Lip. It has like an iridescent look to it. Smells yummy. Again, this just came, so this is the first time I'm using it, and ultimately this might be one of my favorite looks that I've done with this palette. It was super duper easy, and I don't know, I think it's kind of special. I love just the whole face of how this turned out. So stay tuned for my review. I hope you guys enjoyed those looks. This is look 3 obviously, and honestly it ties with the other 2 looks that were super fun to create as well. I did use all of the shades in the palette at least once, and some much more than once. And let's just talk about some of the observations that I've made about this palette. Number 1, it is messy. If you don't like messy palettes, then this is not the palette for you. There is a lot of glitter going on in this palette, and I love glitter. I like it for every day. I like it for glam. I like it for fun. There's just never a wrong time for glitter for me. So there's some that perform better with the finger, some that perform better with a wet brush, and all of these I think would definitely benefit from a glitter glue. If you've been living on the moon for a long time, you may not know that NYX makes a glitter primer, they call it, that is very affordable and really, really nice and tacky, and will grab onto your shadows, whether they be matte, metallic, glitter, and so on. So I really do like that there are all the different formulas in here. This shade right here, Sparks, is like very much a topper shade. You can see that it's very chunky and glittery, so it definitely benefits either from spritzing your brush or a little glitter glue. It doesn't really apply very well unless you're applying it directly to a sticky base with the finger. However, there are other shades like lime chrome and brass here that absolutely perform better with a finger. And then, you know, like your normal metallic shades, like these two and these two, are just fine with a brush. They look even more beautiful when they're wet, and you know, there you go. I don't have a lot to say about this. I don't know with the price, and I definitely got the impression from a lot of you in the comments after I originally mentioned that I had purchased this palette. I know a lot of you are just not interested in spending $129 on an eyeshadow palette, and I definitely understand that. For me, I really feel like this palette and my Lila palette and my Mini Star palette have been good investments in my eyeshadow collection. I could absolutely 100% see traveling with this palette. Like I said, I got everyday looks, I got glam looks, I got fun looks. There's just nothing that this palette can't do, and I think I've just barely scratched the surface in the 5 or 6 looks that I've done with this, on what it can do, what I could do with it, and so on. So I do recommend this palette personally. If you're, you know, I think in general, if you're even considering spending $129 for a palette, you should go for the one that speaks to you. You know, don't go for the gold because it's my favorite over the Lila palette. Go for the color story that speaks to you. Also, if you're thinking about making a $129 investment, consider shopping your stash. I did shop my stash. I did find some dupes within this palette. Did I necessarily need this palette? No, but I longed and lusted for this palette. So I do think it's worth the money. I've really enjoyed this palette. I know I will continue to enjoy this palette. I think I'm going to keep her out on my vanity so I can just grab for it whenever. I just think this is one of those palettes where you really have to kind of play with it, experience the different formulas. I will mention that in the link down below to the Sephora website, it does tell you what formula each of the shades are if you're interested in, you know, the real technical parts of this palette. I have included that information in the past when I reviewed the Lila palette, you know, which shades were which formulas and so on and so forth. But like I said, I don't think there's probably a ton of people out there that are going to purchase this palette that haven't already with its initial launch. So I just don't feel the need to go into details over it. But that being said, I love this palette and I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video and spending a little bit of your day with me. And I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful gold makeup days. And I will see you in my next video soon.